Hello again, welcome back to Sapology Blog. We are coming to you again from the shores of Walloon Lake. With me again is my friend Jenny, my wife Liz, and my friend Amy. And today we're going to be reviewing two American whiskeys, both of them from the Grand Traverse Distillery in Traverse City, Michigan, which is a few miles west and south of here. Because of the angle of the lake and all that. Okay, anyway, so we have their straight rye whiskey, which is a 70% rye whiskey, I believe. So. And then the bourbon whiskey, which is, I think, pretty much a standard recipe bourbon. Both of these are relatively new products from Grand Traverse, so let's get started. What do we want to taste first? The bourbon?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that going from sweeter to drier?
Yes.
Yes.
So that probably sounds like the way to do it.
All right, this one is 92 proof.
Mom, look! I got a water spurt!
Just a tiny bit.
Just a teeny tiny bit. Grand Traverse Distillery is a micro distillery. Their first whiskey product was their Old George Rye, which is a 100% rye whiskey. It's their bourbon.
Which I believe you reviewed.
Yes, I have reviewed it. The bourbon is a relatively new product, and it's also almost all sold out. They were all out of full-size bottles. They only had the half-size bottles.
I do have to admire the packaging. It's very kind of old school, old-fashioned, turn of the century little bottles. Charming. I like the packaging. You do a nice job.
On the nose.
Like a lot of corn.
Pretty young, very corny.
It's fiery too.
Yeah.
Fiery, yeah.
That first hit was strong on the nose.
Yeah, it's a no age statement whiskey. It's a straight, so that means it's probably about 4 years old, maybe a little bit older. But they said they're having a hard time keeping aged stock because they need to sell all they make because they have a capital issue.
Although, Josh, I noticed that when we went there this year, we've been there just about every year for the past 3 or 4 years. They had a lot more barrels aging this year than they've had in the past. Like, I would say probably 5 times as many as the first time we went there.
Yeah, I agree. They definitely expanded.
They may have to build a rick house someday.
Yes, I think they
I was
may.
just going to ask, do they have a proper rick house? No. Oh.
Would that work in Michigan?
Yeah, I think you could do that.
What they had, where they're located is in an industrial park behind the airport in Traverse City.
Oh,
and
picturesque.
It's very ugly.
It's a biz.
It's a biz. Well, the owner we talked to the owner this time when we were there. He was labeling bottles while we were there.
Yeah.
And he told us that when he first started out, he wanted an out-of-the-way place because he didn't anticipate that people would be coming there. It was just going to be their work facility and they would sell elsewhere. Right. Plus he didn't want to advertise that there was a distillery there because he didn't want to have trouble with people breaking in or whatever. So then the law changed to allow him to have tastings right on site. And actually I don't think they distribute at all to stores. They just sell on site.
They distribute the Old George I've seen out and their corn whiskey. But. All right, so
tasting.
What do we think about the taste? I think it's pretty nice. It's clearly young.
Yeah.
Got some kind of sharp wood flavors to it, but it isn't aged in small barrels. It's aged in full-size barrels. So.
I really feel it like in the middle part of my tongue.
Yeah.
Like I feel the burning.
A little tiny bit of anise.
Yeah, I think so.
A little bit of anise.
Now I've had some micro-distilled whiskeys that tasted more like anus than anus, but this is a decent one.
It's nice. Take them anywhere.
Yeah, this is good. And I could see that anise.
We've all been to
really
college here.
Kind of fiery anise. Yes. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Just as well. It doesn't matter.
This is well. Okay, are we ready to move on to the straight rye?
Sure, go ahead. Pour
All right.
everybody else first before me.
Okay.
Yeah, that's nice.
And
Uh-oh. Packaging fail.
There we go.
I got it.
I'm marking it down 50 points just for
Yeah, really.
I don't do points. Okay, so this is the straight rye whiskey.
Well, we know it was in tightly.
Yes,
Yeah, there
we
you
do
go.
know that.
It was what?
In tightly.
Oh, okay.
No air
Yes, I-
seeped through.
All right,
Okay.
so let's taste this. I get the nose is very minty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
grassy, minty. Typical rye profile.
Yeah, almost reminds me a lot of Bullet Rye. It's the same kind of grassy, minty nose.
Not quite a loaf of bread taste.
Yeah, and the taste too. Very grassy and minty on the taste.
Kind of in the finish, it's kind of more of a spearmint, more than herbal.
In fact, I think I like this better than the bourbon. I didn't really care for the bourbon at the tasting room, or here it's okay, but this has a much more complex flavor, I think.
I feel like I taste the flavor better in the rye.
Yeah,
Because I don't have the burning feeling as much.
right.
So I taste that herbally.
Is there an age
flavor.
statement on the rye?
No,
Okay. So that means it could be. Is there a
it's probably about 40 years old. Yeah,
Okay.
there's a similar requirement for rye. It is also 92 proof. And this has lower rye content than the Old George, but it's still, I would still classify it as a high rye.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it too.
As I recall, I'm thinking I didn't really care for the Old George that much. It was a little bit too hot and too young, but this tastes good. This is a nice balance.
Okay, let me check my timer here.
So, what are we talking value-wise for these?
I think these half bottles was what, 28?
Something like that.
Yeah, 28. Which is expensive. If it'd be expensive if it was like a major producer, but for a micro distiller, it's actually fairly reasonable. There are some that have bottles that size, shall remain nameless, going for $40, and they're not nearly as good as this.
And I have to say too about these, this micro distiller, they're not buying pre-distilled product.
No,
They're
no.
distilling their own
They're
product.
distilling their own stuff, bottling their own stuff,
In
aging their own
fact,
stuff.
the owner told us that they get all their grains except for the
Except for the
bar-
malt,
yeah,
the malted barley.
right. They get them all locally.
Mm-hmm.
Like he told us the town, and it's like less than 20 miles from Traverse City, where the corn, the
Down
wheat,
there.
the rye.
Yeah.
Whereas we're up here.
All right, so very good. I will say both of these are recommended for me. Probably this one I like a little bit better.
Yep, me too.
I really hope they can get their cash flow in a positive direction so they can put some of this bourbon away for a little bit longer, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. I think it would be really stellar at that point, but you know, you got to pay the bills. So, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm with you. I prefer the rye.
Oh, let me also just put in a plug for them. They also do make vodka, various infused vodkas, and I think they're coming out with a gin too.
Yes, they are coming out with the gin soon, and as soon
we
as
should
that
try that.
hit the
I
shelves, we
like
will be
gin.
reviewing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And I think it's great that you got to meet the owner.
Yes.
And, like, see how
And
the
it was
place
working.
operated.
And they took
right.
the time to talk.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That really says a lot.
It does.
does.
So.
we were there with a dad and his buddy, and the dad's 1.5-year-old son. That they were with us.
Fantastic.
Or
He didn't have a sample at the
No.
sampling bar afterward,
That's good.
although, you know, it was close to nap time.
That's
So-
what helped maybe.
All right, any final thoughts, any parting words about these?
cheers.
Cheers!
Good.
Hopefully you
Cheers.
find them someday.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes, they're worth looking for.
Thank you for coming by, and we'll see you again soon.
Ciao, ciao.
Peace.